First off, I just want to say this isn't a fuck Rith Randall or a fuck Rob kind of video. It's just something I've been seeing on Twitter and YouTube for the past 2 days. And it's in regards to certain people, mostly women, coming out and saying that he was a harasser, that he would, you know, blackmail them with little, I don't know how you could say it, threats of self-harm or things of that nature, you know, if they didn't give him whatever attention he was seeking and things like that. And to the extent of how true all that is, I don't really know. But it sucks. I never really had an actual one-on-one conversation with the guy. I just remember being in a lot of his blog TV rooms back then and seeing certain YouTubers. Back then when YouTube and blog TV had a symbiotic relationship and they both kind of flowed together for a while. Which was around, I know blog TV was launched in June 2007 in America and the rest of the world, I believe. So yeah, it must have been around 2008, 2009, going into like 2011, 2012, when it was becoming more and more of a big thing, both YouTube and blog TV. Those are some pretty good days. But as far as Riff, I never understood, I guess, the disdain or hatred or dislike that tended to be aimed at his way. At least, not until, you know, all these things have been coming out about him. And it just sucks because, you know, the reason I'm going into that in regards to the, you know, the internet world is because I've been going through a similar thing with in the real world, if you will. I'm trying to think of a good name for either a male or female, but I'll just go with the name Sky. And a real close friend of mine, Sky, passed away about a month ago. And it just so happens that now that Sky has passed, there's all these things coming out of the woodwork, and people are coming up to me saying things like, "Hey, did you know that Sky was, you know, kind of a like wandering hands, kind of, hey kids, I got some candy in my van kind of deal, if you catch my drift." And I guess I'm segueing between this whole thing that's happening with UnseenPerfidy, and how I feel bad for the people who have known him for a while and have been close friends with him for a while, and me in the real life, just about 48 hours ago, finding out, you know, more and more, I don't want to say rumors, if there's validity to those statements or things that I've been hearing that friends tell me, like, did you know that Sky was just kind of you know, wandering hands type of person, and it sucks because you don't know how to view a friendship after you hear these things from someone that you thought you knew, or someone that, not so much someone that you thought you knew, but someone that you'd never see being that type of person. And since finding out, you know, this news about about Sky 48 hours ago, around more or less 48 hours ago. It's kind of just, I've been wandering in my head, thinking, how do I where's that person in my mind now? How do I erase, all the memories and the good times, and you know, since we're young bloods, just always knew Sky, and it's like, and Sky's passed away, and now it's like it's different, because now it's like if I knew something about that, I mean, I'd try to do something about it. I'd tell Sky, like, the fuck is this shit true? What people are saying about you? But Sky has passed, and having to have to confront that is an impossibility, because that person is no longer alive. And I guess I had to spell the word apathy in my head over and over and over. And however true or untrue, or on a scale 1 through 10, whether it was like this severe level of that, or whether it was, a level 1, whatever, you could even try to, it's all horrible and no one should have to go through that. To even try to make a 1 through 10, how bad was it, like a molestation or rape chart. 1 through 10, how bad was it? I mean, that's bullshit in and of itself. But however true these statements are, or they aren't in regards to Sky, that person will still always be a friend of mine. And maybe for some people they can't fathom that or understand that. And even though it's not easy, but I'll never know the extent to which these accusations are being made. I'll never know. They can be like, oh, well, it was, just this or that, or it was just, it wasn't so major, it was just a few couple of instances, this and that. I'll never know. I can't look into a fucking crystal ball, look into the past, and judge these things based on, evidence, because I'll never have that evidence. So the person that I knew will always be a close friend and a part of me. As I can't sever ties with someone who I felt really close to. Just can't. And it segues over to, I see certain people on YouTube and on Twitter and stuff like that, and they're having a hard time dealing with it, because it's like, because they know Riff, they know Rob, and back in the days, as Black TV, he liked to drink a lot, and he loved drinking his scotch, and he loved inviting people over and being like, yeah, anyone can come over, and people would just come over, I'm here, and here's my address, and awesome, and come over. And I remember, like, around 2009, 2010, I guess, when Blog TV and YouTube when it was like really, when it was blowing up, I would go to Riff shows, and I would think, to myself, I'd be like, man, that guy seems like a pretty cool dude. It would be cool to chill with Riff and have a, YouTube meetup, hang out, and just hang with some people and drink some scotch and listen to music and just talk and joke around and whatever. Go out to a bar and, just have fun with YouTubers from around the States, and we'll all meet up at Riff's house, because, I don't know, there was something about how he would kind of talk about his place, and how it was very he always seemed to try and emphasize, I guess, that there was a lot of space and it was just him and people were welcome over and all this and that. And that's cool. Whether all these accusations of, you know, how true they may be, with people saying things that maybe there was some red flags when they would go over to his house and they're like, I look back on it now and I kind of see it, but at the time I didn't see it, and they feel bad or they may feel guilty, and that's unfortunate, but it's just, it's hard, you know, to just turn on the camera and be like, oh, fuck Riff Randall, he's a, you know, I knew he was always a creep, I knew he was always this, I knew he was always fucking drunk, I knew he suffered from mental illness, and this and that, and he uses an excuse, and all this stupid shit. But it's too easy, it would be too easy for me to just turn on the camera and just blurt that out for 2 minutes and yell my head off, and fuck Riff, fuck Riff. Maybe on any other day I probably would have. But for the past 48 hours, I've just been thinking about Sky and people coming at me with these stories and stuff and saying, did you know this? Did you know that? And I'm just like, whoa, what? It's crazy. And it put me in a really weird emotional space for a good while, just laying in bed and not, just felt surreal at times, you know, and you're either gonna be mopey about it and just sit in a fucking corner and be like, you know, poor me, what could have I done, what could have I done? Or do you just carry the other half of that person, the good person that you knew, the caring person, that charming person, that laugh, that smile, of that other half of the darkness of that person, and be like, I'll still hold on to that. And sometimes there's these little strings of, you know, of people's baggage or people's skeletons in their closet, and those little strings are connected to your mind, and sometimes you just have to sever those strings, you know. You have to sever those negative, the negative things, or the heinous, horrendous things they might have done, or not have done in their life. You kind of have to detach yourself from that. And know that there was always the other half of that person was always there. That light side was always there. And maybe somewhere down the line, they just went too far into the deep end, too lost into addiction, depression, mental illness, alcoholism, whatever, or all of those put in a fucking blender and drank in the same fucking drink. Who knows, man? But it's the internet. You want to ask for forgiveness in real life? That's hard. True forgiveness in this life is really hard. And you translate that over into the internet world, and you try to ask for people's forgiveness for you know, for the things you've done. It's going to be really, really hard. And you're going to really, 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 really have to atone and step up and admit and atone for the mistakes that you've made and take full responsibility for it. Not just say, oh, it's because I have mental illness. No, if don't use mental illness as an excuse, and I'm not saying mental illness isn't a real thing, but if you can wake up in the morning, look yourself in the mirror and take a long hard look in the mirror, you can brush your teeth, you go to your little job, you cook your 2-3 meals a day, you can wipe your own ass, you can flush your own goddamn toilet, and you can fucking do all those little things, those day-to-day things on your own and by yourself, then mental illness or no mental illness, that's not an excuse to do these, to act in the way that you act. If you can wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and go to work and cook your own meals and wipe your own ass, then you can take full accountability for your actions. And we'll be on for 15 minutes now, but that's about all. I guess I'm just gonna wrap it up by saying this isn't a fuck anyone video or calling out anybody. It's just, in the past 48 hours, I've kind of been put in a similar situation as with the people who are actually close friends with Rith and who really know Rith, and they're just feeling in a weird place and they don't know how to fucking take it, and they don't want to. You want to do something, and you want to fix it. That's what fucking people do. That's what we do as fucking human beings. We try, as a collective whole, we try to fix shit. As a species, shit breaks, something stops working, we try to fix it. We want 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 to fix it. It's just ingrained in our fucking brain. We want to fix things. And it fucking sucks when someone who's really close to you, whether they're an angel or a demon, they're close to you, and you've seen into that person, and you see that there's, for the least part, even glimpses of a good person or a passionate person who feels so strong about doing something in life or whatever it may be, whatever their fucking heart desires, but it just sucks getting put in that fucking situation, in that predicament, when you see it happening around you and you want to do something about it. And our forefathers fought wars with spears and arrows and guns and cannons and bled on battlefields. And nowadays, people fight wars on their cell phones and on their keyboards, and getting swarmed up in the negativity of what the internet, the dark corners of the internet, just tread lightly. Don't put yourself in situations in which you might end up regretting later. Think. But like always, regret is always something that comes after the fact, never before. Peace, YouTube. Laters.